As people continue to stream into the Zoom room, we're going to go ahead and get things started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Scouts BSA Spring Recruitment Webinar. We're so glad you decided to join us this evening. We've got a fantastic program. And to kick us off, please welcome our National Membership Chair, Freddie Norton.
Thank you, Michael. We are so appreciative of your joining us tonight for this Scouts BSA Spring Recruitment Kickoff. We've got some great information to share, and right now we have over 800 people that have joined us online, and the number continues to grow. Tonight we're going to talk about Scouting America, a marketing update from our marketing guru, Michael Ramsey, who you've been listening to. We're going to have a promotion of our National High Adventure Bases by Andrea Watson. We're going to talk about middle school recruitment by Chris Cowley and Ben Buckaloo. And Mike Atkinson is going to bring us an engaging presentation on peer-to-peer recruitment. Finally, our great staffer, Otto Gethard, is going to talk to us about your council membership plan. But it wouldn't be a scout gathering if we didn't start with a safety moment. And so tonight we've got Tree Hister, Scouting America's Director of Environmental Health and Safety, who's going to bring us a safety moment. Tree?
Thank you, Freddie. What a great night for scouting. What a great night to be a scout. Y'all, we're going to talk tonight about the F in the SAFE checklist, and that is fitness. Our primary tool for making sure we take care of each other in fitness is the annual health and medical record. It's the first step in making sure you have a great scouting experience. The annual health and medical record is designed to help ensure all participants in the scouting program are healthy enough for the adventure of scouting. It's not intended to limit participation, but to inform and protect. To keep up with possible changes in health status, that form needs to be done annually or if your health information changes. And remember, it expires in 1 year. It's a 4-part form and it serves as the place to document a participant's medical history and recent medical examination. It also provides consent for treatment in the event a participant needs emergency care while traveling away from a parent or guardian. Parts A and B should be completed for all participants and scouting leaders. And Part C's get completed by a licensed healthcare provider before the participant attends a scouting event that is longer than 72 hours. The optional high adventure risk advisory needs to be shared with the examining medical provider during the pre-participation exam to explain the known health risks for Scouting America's 4 high adventure bases. Additionally, your council may develop a risk advisory specific to your council camps or other properties or events. The forms should be maintained by a designated leader at the unit level, and we must ensure the privacy of those forms to make sure that we keep that crucial information confidential. Neither Scouting America nor the annual health and medical record are subject to the HIPAA Act, but we do want to act trustworthy in everything that we do. So please make sure that you and your scouts and scouters are fit and ready for the summer adventures by making sure your annual health and medical forms are complete. Back to you, Freddie.
Thank you, Tree. And again, thank you for joining us tonight for this special spring recruitment kickoff. Our numbers have now exceeded 1,000, and we're so appreciative of those of you who took time tonight to participate in what we believe will be a session with great information. First, let me tell you, we've got panelists that are watching the Q&A. And in live time, they will do their best to answer your questions. So feed them through there, and to the extent that they can get to them tonight, they will answer. If not, we'll try and get back to you in the days to come with those questions that we didn't have a chance or didn't have an opportunity to answer. Are we recording this? Well, of course we are. And not just so that you might review it after tonight's session, but for those that were unable to participate, those that might be able to see it later in the days to follow when it's posted online. Well, right now, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to be able to introduce to you a great friend and a great scouter, Ken Gordon, who serves as our National Chair for Growing Scouting. He serves both on the National Commissioner Service Team and the Membership Committee. So as cross-trained as Ken is, he's got great comments to bring to you as we begin our session tonight. Ken, take it away.
Oh, thank you, Freddie. And I really appreciate your holding off on bringing me on until we had 1,000 participants. That's a big deal. I'm glad we have everybody here. And as Fred said, I want to start off with thanking you all for the great work you're doing on scouting. You're on the front lines. We all understand that being a unit leader, working with the units and at the unit level is most critical. That's where our program gets delivered. That's where our scouts get the benefit of being in scouting and, of course, the fun. What I want to talk about tonight is you're going to hear a lot about recruitment in this webinar, as well we should, because we definitely need to bring in many more scouts into scouting so that they can benefit, so that America can get stronger, and so that they can have the fun that scouting has to offer and that we will talk about later on tonight. I have a couple of requests, though. One of the things that we can improve upon is our member conversion. That is, let me get that out of the jargon now and talk about, we sign up folks, we have our sign up nights, or we're bringing them to troop meetings. They come, they join, and then we need them to stay. We want them to come to meetings and get involved. So when you're out there working with them and your sign up nights or your events and activities, whatever they might be, where they sign up, how is it that you're going to greet them when they come to your meeting or your activity? Perhaps you have a new member coordinator or just somebody that's going to be at the door to greet them and begin to explain to the adults what's going on here and get the young person who walks into their first meeting associated with a scout so that they've got a friend and somebody that they know they can turn to if they've got questions. Also, what we find is that sometimes those people will come to a few meetings and then they don't show up again. What happened? Why is that the case? So if you could pay attention to that, that would be really, really helpful for your troop. It would explain, you'd be able to get explanation for why they're not coming. Maybe the night turned out to be a bad night for them and they need to find another troop. Okay, great. Let's share that and get them over to somebody else. On the other hand, maybe there's just something about scouting they didn't understand and didn't feel welcomed or felt there was too much confusion. So we can explain to them what's going on there. And I would encourage you, even for the adults that are staying and coming with their young scouts, and for those drop-off parents, see if you can hold an onboarding session or two so that you can explain to them what that future is going to look like for their scout. And of course, that's an opportunity to invite them to help out. Maybe you've got small jobs that you can ask them to do, or just let them know there will be ways that they can help. People that today don't necessarily want jobs, but they're happy to help. And the third point for tonight for me is, the reason we need to do recruitment now is we can get them on board, whether they're Arrow of Light Scouts and crossing over, or they're brand new to scouting. This is a perfect time to bring them in, bring them to a camp out, and then get them to summer camp. The data suggests that if we get them to summer camp, we will have them hooked. So we really want to do that, and that makes spring recruitment a great time to recruit into Scouts BSA. Again, my thanks to you. You're doing the hard work. Our job is to support you. If you ever don't feel supported, please reach out to us and let us know, because we want to make sure that you do have that experience. Freddie, back to you.
Thanks so much, Ken. As I said, I knew Ken would bring, as cross-trained as he is, he'd bring great information to us all. Now, that guru of all marketing, Scouting BSA, Michael Ramsey, is here to give us a marketing update. Michael, we love you and your team and all that you do for us as the National Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer of our wonderful movement.
Freddie, can you introduce me at every meeting I come to? That's great. Thank you very much. Hey, listen, excited to be here tonight. One of the things that you may not know is that last year was one of the biggest PR and media years we've had in scouting literally for decades. There were over 33,000 stories placed in national media around scouting. We launched a strategy a little over 12 months ago. We said we're going to crank out a press release or media alert every single week. On top of that, it was lighting the Empire State Building for the anniversary. It was David Montgomery. It was a massive fall recruitment campaign efforts. It was working with David Montgomery and all these different things going on. So to really, as we say, flood the zone with positive stories about scouting. And we're going to do it again this year as well. And we need you to be part of it. So on the next slide, you can kind of see some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, just very, very briefly. If you hit it again, there we go. Our marketing research tells us, Pat Wellen, who's the director of research and strategy, every year we do what's called a joining survey, and it tells reasons that people join or how do they find out about us. And the top five is always they see us in the community somewhere. So we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. Number two, we're going to talk about social media and digital media, just very, very briefly about how we do that. So next slide, word of mouth, which is probably the most important piece, and we're going to talk about that here in just a couple of minutes. So if we head to the next slide, then see us in the community. What does that mean? It sounds almost too easy to be true, right? I mean, it's about flag raisings in the front of the school and the communities. Listen, both as a Cub Master and a Scout leader, schools were so excited. If we said, hey, we want to come down and just raise the flag, it was all about visibility. It's about patriotism. It's about service, which is really who we are. This is all about looking for ways to be visible in the community. You know, there's the old saw that we don't know about scouting because they camp in the woods and they meet in the church basement. How do we get out in the community so people can see the amazing things that we do every single day? So if you hit it again, there's another one coming up here on the list. There are things like parades. 4th of July is coming up. There's all kinds of events in the community. We urge you, especially in this 250 year, to be out in the community as we're doing service. Participate in things like parades and events. It's okay to be out there and ask to, be part of some type of presentation at your church, at your community, at chambers of commerce, those kinds of things. Next bullet. There we go. Veterans Day, Memorial Days. Listen, these are powerful opportunities to be out in the community. I know many of you with your troops are out either placing flags at cemeteries or putting flags down Main Street in different communities. This is the year to do that. We want to make sure that people see the patriotism that is at the core of our organization. Next bullet. 4th of July. Again, 4th of July parades. There are opportunity to be part of those fun, cool parades. Sometimes there are opportunities for service in your communities with your events. I know there are in my community. They love to have scouts out doing things, everything from parades to parking cars. There's all kinds of things, but wearing that uniform, wearing it proudly, and being seen is how they find us in the community. Next one. Here's what I'm going to challenge you real quickly. We'll talk about America 250 here in just one moment. I know there's a lot of people, over 1,000 on this call tonight. You have ideas on how you can be seen in the community. Drop these in the chat for me. If you've got things that you do in your community, in your neighborhood, in your city, drop them in the chat. We want to see your ideas beyond, yes, it's flag raisings, it's parades, those types of things, but let us know. Share your ideas on the chat tonight, and we'll keep an eye on them. By the way, we are an official America 250 partner. You'll see that on our websites and across our social media. Super excited to be able to celebrate the 250th anniversary of this great nation. It's a tremendous opportunity to be out there and talk about scouting in our community and be seen so people know that we're there. Hey, so on the next slide, a little bit about social media. There are some channels that we definitely need to be on. Now, we don't target youth on social media from a marketing perspective. We just don't do that because of age requirements on those various channels. But we do know that sometimes we post content about campouts and events and service events in your community. It's okay to talk about those things on social and the great exciting things that you and your troops are doing out in the community or on campouts. It's that whole thing. What did you do this weekend? We went climbing, we did water sports, those kinds of things. It's okay to share them on Instagram. It's okay to share them on TikTok. Someone will say, what about Facebook? Sure, that's okay too, but the first time your mom tells you she loves you on Facebook, those kids are gone off that platform, but they're on Instagram and they're on TikTok. And yes, it's okay to post on TikTok. We've actually found nationally with our TikTok work that it's the most positive channel. It's where parents are. It's where youth are. It's a great way to spread the news about scouting. Hey, next slide. Yep, Instagram, TikTok. Hey, a little bit about guerrilla marketing. This is being out in the community and finding new, fun, unexpected ways to be there. If you click through some of these bullets, listen, it's troop open houses, it's things like troop visits. We see again and again that just being visible and inviting people to come, not just hear about it, but experience it. Our troop open houses, just personally with my troop, hey, the scouts got a chuck box out, they got the cooktop, and we let them cook an egg. We signed up more kids just by letting them cook themselves breakfast at a troop open house. It's a great experience. It's hands-on. It's fun with the friends. Again, drop those ideas in the chat. We want to see them. We hear about everything from pizza parties to pop-up tent events where we talk to the school and we actually set a bunch of tents up in the front lawn of the school with flyers. It's a great way to just be visible in a way that's surprising in the community. Hey, so the next slide, I think may be the last one in this deck. Yep, there we go. Hey, last commercial announcement is that if you're looking for videos, for logos, for recruitment materials, you can go to Scouting America's Brand Center. The easiest way to find it is type in Scouting America Brand Center. There you'll find literally thousands of assets and resources. It's videos, it's B-roll, it's logos, it's flyers, a bookmark, anything you can think of is on that site. They're downloadable, they're high-res videos, high-res resources that you can, many of them customize and use in your own local marketing efforts. So listen, it's going to be a great year for scouting. We just got to be out there and be public in the community and let people see all the fun and adventure that we do. So have a great scouting season. We'll talk to you soon. Freddie, back to you.
Thanks so much, Michael. Appreciate that information. And again, thank you for all that you and your team do to support us and help us share the great message of scouting.
Thank you,
You know,
Freddie.
I don't know if you've ever met Andrea Watson, General Manager of Philmont Scout Ranch, but what a powerhouse. And she joins us tonight to tell us about our National High Adventure Bases and those wonderful opportunities offered to our scouts there. Andrea?
Oh, Freddie, thank you so much. What a pleasure it is to be here with everyone tonight and talk about how high adventure can help with recruitment and retention in your troops. First and foremost, to echo those who've talked a little bit before, thank you so much for what you're doing to help scouting happen in your local community. As a mom of 2 scouts, BSA members myself, I see the power that our program can have, and it takes a lot of adult leaders to make it happen every day. So thank you. And a special thank you to those who help make the outdoor adventure happen in our troops. I'm going to talk a little bit, but while I'm doing so, there's a couple of QR codes here on the slide for you. The one on the right, my right, talks about how you can win prizes because heck, why not win a prize tonight? If you click that QR code, fill out a short form, each of the high adventure bases is raffling off prizes tonight to all of you. As just a small thank you from us for all you do to help outdoor adventure happen in your unit. And the other code on the other side is a link that will take you to the high adventure base landing page for all 4 high adventure bases. And just real quickly, I want to always start with why. And why high adventure can help in our attendance and our recruitment and our retention of our scouts. High adventure, it's not just a trip, really, it's a transformational experience. It builds confidence, resilience, leadership, and lifelong friendships. And it builds upon the experiences that all of us have had a chance to have at our local summer camps, which are also so important. When a troop goes to a high adventure base, they have an opportunity to come home stronger, more unified, and more committed to their experience in scouting. There are 4 national high adventure bases. For those of you who might not yet be familiar, Philmont Scout Ranch, located in the northeast of New Mexico, where scouts and scouters can backpack from 50 to 100 miles up and down, 6,000 to 12,000 feet. And it's not just about the backpacking, it's about the experience you have together on the trail and the programs that you do along the way. Northern Tier High Adventure, paddling in the pristine wilderness of the Boundary Waters in Minnesota. Beautiful, beautiful place, not to mention incredible winter programs for those who like to get out and experience true winter. And again, building teamwork and self-reliance. Florida Sea Base, located in the Florida Keys and other places around the Bahamas, the U.S. Virgin Islands, sailing, diving, live aboard in the Florida Keys, true adventure on the water. And of course, the Summit Bechtel Reserve, home of this summer's National Jamboree, which has its own high adventure programs every single year, including world-class zip lines, whitewater programs, ATVs, mountain bikes, and again, those leadership programs that all of our high adventure bases are known for. There really is adventure for every type of scout. I will say that in 2027, where all of our registration is live and ready to go, one of the reasons that we want to sign scouts up early is because a retention tool for those scouts as they go through the planning process now, it keeps them retained into the 2027 year and gets them even more excited about the things they're going to get to do while also remaining active in your home troop. And so it's a win-win all the way around. And I also think that as we have scout families come in and visit and go through those open houses that Michael talked about, the opportunity to see some of those experiences on the calendar could change how a family perceives what scouting has to offer their scout and what your program might contain in your local unit. So again, lots of opportunities. The opportunity to have your troop participate also grows the stronger patrol methods, youth-led culture, and it really is a shared goal that can energize your entire unit and give you something to focus on while also recruiting those scouts into your program. So again, hopefully you'll get a chance to gather your scout leadership team, your PLC, have them talk with older scouts, typically 13 years of age and up, and make sure you get your spot secured for 2026 or especially looking in 27. Finally, real quick, we're talking for a brief time tonight about the importance and what we can do to grow membership. How about come out to Philmont for a week and talk about how we can do that? There are also scholarships available to councils and volunteers. They'd like to come and participate in this specific conference. This is where we can get together for a week and really talk through how do we grow scouting your unit and walk away with lots of actionable items that you can take in your home troop to grow the scouting movement. Thank you so much for the chance. And again, we'll see you out on Scouting's Trail.
Andrea, thank you. Thank you so much, Andrea. We really appreciate it. You know, with over 1,000 of you joining us tonight, we are so excited to have this spring recruitment kickoff. But what could be greater than joining Andrea for Membership Week at Philmont this summer? We hope that you'll check that out and see if your schedule will permit you to join us there. What greater opportunity for spring recruitment than middle schools? And here to give us some great tips about how we can maybe grab some of that low-hanging fruit are Chris Cowley, Scout Executive for the Central North Carolina Council, and Ben Buckaloo at the national headquarters, our Vice President of Membership Engagement. Fellas, tell us what we can do at middle school.
We'll do it. Thank you, Freddie, and thanks for everybody for being on tonight. It's amazing to see the outpour of people interested in helping grow scouting. Andrea, thanks for the plug. Membership Week, I'll be out there with you, along with a couple other people on this call as the panelists. So please join us out there for a fun week. It doesn't get any better than being out there. But I'm going to talk briefly before turning it over to the expert, Chris Crowley, to talk about middle school recruitments. But I can't talk about recruiting into your troops without mentioning what I experienced as an executive with scouting, where the pack and troop partnership, how crucial that is. Some of the best examples of where I saw is where the Cub Master actually served on the committee for the troop and the Scoutmaster served on the committee for the pack. And they always found a way to be at both. And I understand, I'm not saying be at everything, but the Scoutmaster always played like a very small role at the pack meetings, whether it be the invocation or something at the beginning. But those fourth and fifth graders saw the Scoutmaster and they brought other scouts with them to see them. So they were getting ready to cross over. Because if you don't know, majority of our scouts that join troops are coming from packs. And so I'd be remiss not to mention this strategy and talk about, please focus on this and investing in your packs and then asking your packs to invest in you to make sure that those crossovers are happening. Because if you don't do that, then you have to solely rely on middle school recruiting and other avenues to recruit. And that's what Chris Crowley's here for. So Chris, talk to us about how to recruit in middle schools. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Ben. So yeah, one of the things as we move through the different slides is we're going to talk about middle school recruitment. But I think that the reason why there's a picture of a middle school on this slide is for all of us to think about middle schools. For some reason, when we think, we always go back to elementary schools. For some reason, people don't think about middle school that much. So kind of want you to visualize maybe the middle school you went to, maybe the middle school your kids went to, grandkids, whatever. Because we're going to talk a little bit more about middle school and not talk about elementary school, obviously, because we're here to talk about Scouts BSA. And middle school recruitment works. As we move to the next slide, you're going to see setting the stage. I know I was looking through some of the questions, and a lot of people are talking about they're still trying to recover from COVID. I was from Orlando, Florida. I'm up here in North Carolina now, but in Florida, we used to call COVID Hurricane COVID. And unfortunately, when Hurricane COVID came through, it prevented us from going into the elementary schools in 2020, 2021, 2022, and a lot of times in 2023. So all of the kids that were in K through 5 during COVID and the end of COVID are now in middle school. So we want to make sure and set the stage so everyone understands we've got a whole bunch of kids who have never been talked to about scouting, and there's a better opportunity to do that, and it's through middle school. As we go through the next slide, school relationships is one of the things that we're going to talk about. And this is a thing that we're going to put an asterisk on. I'm going to talk about what I've worked on in the councils I've served in, but it's really important because we have so many people on the call, over 1,000 in all the different states. And one of the things to work on is make sure before you start to pick up a phone to contact a middle school, make sure you talk to your district executive, your district membership chair, talk to someone to make sure they're not doing that. We're going to get to why in a second, but that's just the disclaimer. But as you go, building relationships is one of the biggest pieces we can do to make sure that our school districts, as we move to the next slide, when you have your meeting with the superintendent, a lot of times your district executive, your assistant scout executive, field director, it doesn't matter what the title is, someone will hopefully be meeting with superintendents to talk about and set the stage of what scouting does, both for the community, locally, but also nationally, especially with America 250 going on. We have lots of things to talk about. We want to make sure our superintendents know about it. And at that meeting, you want to talk to the superintendent to see if you can make sure that they can talk to their principals, because they're going to have new principals, new middle school principals happen all the time in every school district. Let them know that a scouting professional is going to come talk to them to see if they can do a thing called the middle school recruitment. So as we move to the next slide, we're going to talk about when district executives or volunteers go talk to a middle school principal, you want to really first talk about what you can do with a partnership with that middle school. You don't want to put your hand out. You want to make sure your hand's turned for a handshake to make sure that the middle school principal understands that you're there with your troop to help serve the school. Michael talked about doing flag ceremonies. There's service projects galore. There could be the boys and girls in different troops that might have an opportunity to do a service project for their Eagle Scout service project or any of the other ranks. So talk to the principal about what scouting can do, and then also talk to them about if you can talk to the actual kids in the different classrooms. And as we get to that, we'll get a little bit more into how we do that later on in the presentation. As we move over, after you talk to principals, you want to make sure and talk to your scoutmasters. These individuals are absolutely the jewel for scouting. Our scoutmasters throughout the country make sure that our boys and girls are having the adventure of a lifetime. So you want to meet with your different scoutmasters to let them know, hey, we're going to be recruiting new kids through middle school. We're going to do this. We're going to go in there, and we want to make sure you're ready to get lots of new kids. I've been to a lot of different middle schools, not done by myself, but by others. I don't know if Richard Fallon's on the call, but he holds the record that I know of 65. I know Mike Beer, I believe, got 72. And if you don't think we keep track nationwide, we do. But 72 new middle schoolers that signing up for Scouts BSA is amazing. So you can get a big number. You just have to make sure we put in the time and energy. So an example of the in-school rally, we're going to kind of go over that now. The first thing you want to do is for the setup. You're going to have a mock campsite set up. You want to bring backpacks, tents, kayaks, whatever you think is going to make sure and engage the kids' thoughts, the boys and the girls, everyone what they're talking about. And then you're going to have a little area that you're going to test fire starters. So you can show them how a fire starter is going to work, just flint and steel. It works out really well, something that you do. I would highly suggest when you're setting this up with the principal, if you can talk to social studies classes, that's the best course of action. The reason why is every single kid has social studies year round. A lot of times the backup plan is to talk to a PE class. Unfortunately, kids don't have PE every day. So we're just trying to maximize the audience that you get to talk to get more and more kids an opportunity to join scouting. So as we move to the next slide, the rally itself is totally different than what we do for Cub Scout rallies. And when you first thing is you're not going to say Boy Scouts, you're going to say Scouts. Obviously, that's hard for some of us who've been around for a while. But the Scouts we want to talk about, and you have some sort of thing. My line always is, who remembers someone talking when you were in elementary in like first or second grade? They were wearing a uniform. They talked about you're going to wear a blue uniform. They talked about you doing different things and like gluing blocks of wood together and racing a car down a track. Who remembers that? I'm not here to talk to you about that. I'm here to see if you guys think you're tough enough and mature enough to do some of the things that we do in Scouts BSA. And I want to ask you some questions to see if you think you are, raise your hand. If you don't, let's talk about it later. We'll see if you can join our program so we can show you that you are and you can do some of the adventures and awesome things we get to do in scouting. So we move to the next slide. You're going to see different things that we talk about and we hammer home the things we're going to do in scouting and things that they can do at summer camp. So we don't want to promise things they can't do, but we want to make sure all the kids that join their next summer camp or their next winter camp, they go talk about the zip lines that your camp might have, or the jet skis or ATVs, or the different things that they do with target sports and swimming pools, scuba diving, just whatever you have at your camp, showcase it. Talk about the STEM things, different things that the kids can do. So again, you can get their imagination going. As we go to the next slide, it's going to talk a little bit more about high adventure bases. I was lucky enough to be able to follow Andrea. She's amazing. She talks about all the cool things at all of our high adventure bases. She was talking primarily about Philmont and some good things, and because Philmont's an amazing place. But your eighth graders are the ones that you're going to want to talk about doing a whole bunch of really cool things at our 4 bases. They're amazing. So you want to talk about those different things you can talk about and move forward. As we go to the next slide, we're going to go a little bit more in depth to some of the things you can do at the bases. So we can go to the next slide even after this, Bertie. And then you're going to talk a little bit about what scouting can do for college, little things that you can put up, talk about famous scouts. And I think the next slide has that if you want to go to the next one, Bertie. And talk about just famous scouts that you might know. But when I say famous scouts, not just national famous scouts, but famous scouts in your community, because there's a good chance that mayors or sports figures or head football coaches at high schools might have been scouts, and sometimes that's good for the kids to know. So I want everyone to realize when you talk about scouts who are famous, it doesn't have to be people who are on NBC or CBS, but it can be people that are in community papers and items like that. I think it's really important that we do that. As you go around, you also want to make sure you have a flyer. I think our next slide talks about that. And on the flyer, what you want to do is make sure that you have the time and date, but you want to talk about tomorrow's meeting. You tell them, listen, it's tomorrow, 6:30, right here in the cafeteria. Bring your parent. We want to make sure you're tough enough, so make sure you come if you think you're tough enough, and you give out a flyer. The next example is a flyer we have, and we can make sure when we send this PowerPoint out, you'll be able to see it. It's a little different than a Cub Scout flyer because it talks about all the different things and shows what all of our Scouts BSA members have an opportunity to do in scouting. But we want to keep hammering out that tomorrow, 6:30 in the cafeteria is when they want to come and sign up. So as we move into that, the mechanics of the middle school sign up is a little bit different than elementary signups. And mainly just kind of the mechanics of it is you have two presenters. You have a district executive, a lead volunteer from the district, and you're going to have a whole bunch of troops there. What's different about Cub Scout Pack recruitments and Scouts BSA recruitments is usually you're going to have more than one troop there. People ask why. When kids get into middle school, they get even more and more busy. So a lot of times they're playing baseball on Monday. They might be doing football on Wednesday. And if you have 4 troops there, you might have a troop that meets on Tuesday. So again, you want to just increase the amount of opportunity to make sure their schedule is going to fit for scouting. So that's why you want to have more than one troop at these things. You're going to also ask that each troop bring one of their junior leaders, either the ASPL or the SPL, because they're the ones that are going to make a quick 1 to 2 minute presentation about their troop in front of everyone, not the Scoutmaster. You also ask each troop to have a display board, kind of like a science fair, because during the presentation, all of the families are going to have an opportunity to break and go find what troop works for them. A lot of time it's because of the date, like we mentioned. As we move to the next slide, we're going to kind of go over the agenda for the sign-up night. We can just do this really quickly, but overall, you want to make sure the leaders show up at 6:20, get everything going at 6:30, and make sure the junior leaders, again, the SPL or the ASPL, understand they're the ones who are going to be talking, not the Scoutmasters, because the kids are better. Our scouts can recruit better than all of us can. The kids can recruit better than us. So you want to make sure that the scouts are talking about their troop because they're prideful. They're excited what they do. Go through the opening ceremony, have people talk about an overview of scouting. As we move over to the next slide, you're going to look at different opportunities for families to visit different troops. And then you kind of end the sign-up night. It's more of like a showcase of scouting, and it works really well, again, because people want to have different opportunities to join. As we move to the next slide, I think I just wanted to show again, we've had some middle schools when I was in Central Florida, and hopefully we're working that out up here in Central North Carolina too, where we've had district executives average 50 to 60 new scouts every single middle school night. So relationships is a key part. A lot of people talked about that. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us and we'll be able to give you some more information, but don't discount middle school recruitment. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. Middle school recruitment does work. And I will tell you, even in some of the school districts I've served where I had a hard time getting into elementary schools, for some reason, it was a lot easier to get into middle schools my whole career in the different districts I served. So just remember that, and hopefully you can keep going with what we're doing. And that's what I got here. So I appreciate everyone on the call. Thanks so much.
Chris, thank you. Thank you and Ben both for this great information. Middle schools are great opportunities for us to recruit, particularly in the spring. And you've given us some terrific ideas and some terrific best practices to follow. Well, now it's my pleasure to introduce a friend that I think of as Super Scout. Mr. Mike Matzinger is Scoutmaster of Troop 219G. He's also Scoutmaster of Troop 600B. And on top of all of that, he serves as the membership lead for Council Service Territory 15, serving the states of South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. Mike has some great information based upon all his great experience on peer-to-peer recruitment. And I can't wait to see your presentation, to hear your presentation tonight, Mike. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Freddie. I'm excited to be here. Listen, when Chris was giving his presentation, I was looking at the chat, and quite a few people said that they are not able to get into their school. into the middle school to do recruiting. And I'm the same way. Our local school board won't let us come in and do presentations, won't let us come into the lunchroom and set up tables. So let me talk about something that's worked really well for us. So I'm the founding scoutmaster of a guy troop about 20 years ago, started with 5. We're at 94. And 7 years ago, started a girl unit with 5, and now we're up to 62. And we did it with peer-to-peer inviting. And so let me talk about the benefits of doing this approach. First, there's this engagement. Our scouts have access to our target audience, right? They're going to school, they're playing in sports activities, they're doing lots of things with people their own age that could be potential members of our troop. Second thing is they have authenticity. They've known their friends for a long period of time. Their friends know when they're sincere, and if they're excited about something, their friends are excited about it with them. And then the last thing that's really important for our scouts is they get some leadership development. They get some experience with presenting and with being confident and with learning how to get some action to occur based on their presentation. So on the next slide, I want to talk about some of the strategies for peer-to-peer inviting. The big picture here is that it has to be scout-led. Hopefully your troop is led by a senior patrol leader who was elected by his or her peers, and that each year they hold an annual planning conference. And during this annual planning conference, they set out their ideal year of scouting, their weekend camping trip each month, their week of summer camp, maybe some high adventure based trips, service projects, all the things that they would do in scouting, they put down on a sheet of paper and they agreed to. Because here's the deal. The things that they want to do are likely the things that they're going to show up to participate in. And they're the sort of things that their friends would enjoy doing also. You want to coach them a little bit to design plans that maybe entice their friends. So it could be just the name of the activity, or, hey, what other things could we do that would make this more welcoming to somebody that's never done scouting before? One really cool thing is to have open houses, but to make these hands-on, not just where visitors come and sit in the back, but they come in and they actually get to experience scouting. They get to build things and cook things and play with things. Service projects. In my area, if you're in middle of school or high school, you have to do a certain number of service hours each year in order to graduate. There's a struggle sometimes for people to find service projects. And of course, scouts, that's what we do all the time. In addition to Eagle service projects, there could be just troop service projects where the scouts can invite their friends. It's a real low threshold to come in and just get to know the troop. And then festivals and fairs. There's lots of those in every community. In my community, we have Heritage Day Festival. And so it's a perfect opportunity for our scouts to break out the Dutch ovens, cook some cobblers. Their friends come by, get a sample, and they just start talking about scouting, kind of a real natural interaction. Normal friends activities, you've probably heard about these. You can do a search online. I've done a couple webinars. Ashley Steigerwald's done a couple. There's some aerial scouting stories. Basically, a normal friend activity is an activity that a young person would do whether they're in scouting or not. It might be going to the pool, getting ice cream, going on a hike. We don't wear uniforms. We don't do scouting talk. We just bring people together to get to know each other. And the last thing is Zoom. And I know that sounds crazy, but the young women in my Troop for Girls decided they were going to do a Zoom campfire, and they invited their friends. And they did games and skits and showed each other their campfire and just had a lot of fun. I tapped out after 30 minutes, left my other leaders on there. It went almost 4 hours. There is no way I would have planned that as a way to do inviting. But again, your scouts know what their friends want to do. And so let them own the inviting process like they own everything else in the troop. You'll be surprised what happens. On the next slide, what I want to do is talk a little bit about enabling tools. So we need to make sure they have the resources to be successful. Michael Ramsey talked a little while ago about the brand center. Go in there. There's new stuff all the time. Handouts, flyers, calendars, digital media, peer-to-peer contact cards. Let your scouts take these and be creative with them, because these are the tools they're going to use. Listen, they are not inviting or recruiting tools. Okay, they won't do the job for you. Your scouts have to do the work, but these are things that help the work be more successful. And then schedule time to create and share fun. So your senior patroller might be on a hike with the troop. taking a break to get some water. And senior patrol leader might say, hey, okay, everybody get out your phone, turn it horizontal. Let's take some videos. Let's click some pictures. Hey, those of you that are 13 or older that have social media accounts, go ahead and push that out now. The rest of you, and in fact, everybody, show those videos and those pictures to your friends Monday morning when you get to school. And, social media accounts, a lot of our scouts have them, a lot of our parents have them. Troops seem to have a couple, and that's great, but it's a little bit of an echo chamber. What you want to do is get that content on the sites that the scouts and their parents have. So, a guy troop of 94 might not be unusual for each of my guys to have 1,000 friends. 94 times 1,000, that's 94,000 impressions that they could make 2 to 3 times a week, week after week after week. Use the tools. All right, on the next slide, what I want to do is to talk a little bit about the environment that you create that welcomes folks. It may not be first nature to some of your younger scouts to be confident to go out and share and invite and welcome. So what you could do is you could get some of your scouts together in a meeting, and you could do some role play where one person is doing the pitch and the other person is the individual you want to invite. After 3 or 4 or 5 of the scouts do these, they'll start pulling ideas from each other, and they'll really have a nice crafted elevator pitch. Have an open door policy. Invite people or allow people to come in and see your troop at any time, not just during open house nights. So make sure that it's always welcoming. And if somebody comes in, they're made to feel like there's no pressure. We just want to get to know you. We want you to come have some fun with us. Consider pairing a visitor with a buddy, someone likely their own age. Usually the person that brought them is going to be their own age, but sometimes there might be somebody that's much older, maybe a babysitter has invited somebody to babysit for. Want to pair them up with someone they go to school with of their age as soon as possible and to be with them the whole activity. Train your older scouts how to be ambassadors. They're the ones that need to look to make sure that a visitor's not off on their own, to make sure everybody's doing what they need to do to be welcoming. They have to be intentional about that. And then teach your patrol leaders how to integrate new members. The patrol really is a home for scouts. And the sooner they can get in there, learn names, get excited about the activities coming up, the better for them. That's how you create a welcoming environment. All right, on the next slide, what I want to do is to finish up. We're going to get that next slide going. There you go. I want to talk about some challenges. We need to be honest with our scouts that there's going to be challenges that they need to overcome. And if they know them ahead of time, they can be a little bit better prepared. So we never force peer-to-peer inviting. Okay, this is not multi-level marketing. We don't say, hey, you can't come to this activity unless you invite a friend, or we don't say you can't advance, to the next rank unless you invite 5 people. That's just wrong. Okay, this needs to be low key, and it needs to be exciting and meaningful. We want to encourage scouts to view rejection as part of the process. Don't take it personal. Then a no today might be a yes a couple months down the road when that person doesn't have whatever the conflict was, or maybe that person not doing sports anymore. So we might have to ask 4 or 5 or 6 times before somebody is interested and willing to come to a meeting or to an activity. And then teach your scouts how to engage parents. Now, this is a little weird, and this has to do mainly with my troop of young women. There's a lot of people out there that get their information about scouting not from people like me, but from social media and maybe some TV stations. And so they have some impressions that aren't right. And so if a scout invites their friend in front of those parents, number one, those parents will see how enthusiastic the scout is. But number two, they'll be able to say, hey, I thought about this or that, and you go, oh, no, that's not right. You need to come visit too and talk to my scoutmaster. He'll set you straight. All right, on the last slide here, what I want to do is I want to kind of summarize what we talked about and give you a call to action. That picture on the left-hand side is me on one side, my senior patroller on the other side, and 12 people that had visited in January. A couple weeks before that Monday night meeting, I said, we've got a few scouts from a pack that would like to come and check us out. Might be a good time to have some of our scouts invite their friends too. And that's all I said. She got together with her youth leadership team, and they planned out an opening ceremony, some welcoming games, round robins, a campfire, s'mores, hot chocolate. And then at the end, she brought them in so I could get a picture with them. That's the extent of what I did. I was in a photo, and that's the way youth led should work. So the benefits to doing peer-to-peer: engagement, authenticity, and leadership development. And the effective strategies are when it's scout led, we use enabling tools, and we create a welcoming environment. And this is my call to action to you. Talk to your senior patrol leader, ask them to get together with the patrol leaders council, develop 2 to 3 smart membership goals, and then come up with a way to celebrate. So when this troop reached 55, they had ice cream cakes. They're getting ready to hit 65. They're going to have a chocolate fountain with lots of fruits and stuff. So make it fun. Inviting people is fun. And to my fellow volunteers, you are doing amazing work that's changing the lives of scouts generationally. The more young people we can get into our program, the more lives we can change. And just to build on what Ken said before I turn it over to Freddie, is that we work really hard to invite people and to get them to show up. We want to keep them so that we can have an impact on their lives. And the way that we do this is we deliver on our promises. So whatever we told them to get them to show up and sign on the dotted lines, we need to deliver, whether it's camping trips or service projects or high adventure, whatever it is, let's deliver it, because retention is as important as recruitment. All right, Freddie, over to you.
Super Scout Mike, thank you so much. That peer-to-peer recruitment presentation, how we can get into schools or how we can make an impact in schools where perhaps we can't get there to personally present awesome information. Thank you so much. You know, we have great support at the National Service Center, not the least of which in membership is the manager of membership growth, Otto Guthardt. Otto is going to talk to us very briefly about how to use and follow your council's membership plan. Otto, tell us how we can be successful.
Thanks, Freddie. Thank you so much. And so as you are working on your spring recruitment plans, please work with your local council. Across our organization, the January and February, we have about 232 councils that build strategic membership plans for their communities. So your district executive is an incredible resource and is ready to support you. They can help you understand your unit's role throughout the overall council membership plan. So they can help you with all the tools and resources that you need locally to be successful this spring. So please make sure to follow your local council's membership plan. With that, back to you, Freddie.
Thanks, Otto. You know, I am ending my tenure, my 3-year tenure as National Membership and Relationships Chair. And I have to tell you that this has been a privilege second only to the opportunity I've had to re-experience the scouting of my youth with my 3 sons, who are all Eagle Scouts. Scouting changes lives. It's not so much a burden that we have to share it, but a privilege. We have the privilege of being able to bring people into this movement and change lives, not just the lives of their families, but the lives of the communities in which they live. Commissioner Ken talked to us not just about membership recruitment, but he also talked about retention. And you know, that's a great opportunity for us, and it's something that we need to do if we're going to preserve this movement. You know, our program of scouting kind of works hand in glove with different areas, not just membership, but finance, with program delivery, but also training. And the reason I mention that is because I can tell you that there is data that will support when a trained leader delivers a quality program where young people are experiencing outdoor activities and are advancing, retention follows. I believe that is key to the survival of our movement, not just recruitment, which I call sales, but also retention, which I call service. We can do this. We got this. We had great people tonight that gave us some great tools, and over 1,000 of you chose to participate, and I hope you'll take this message back to your councils. Again, thank you so much for all that you do for scouting. Scouting exists only because of the volunteers who serve it. and we can't appreciate or thank you enough. It's been a great webinar. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night and a great scouting spring. Good night.